The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has continued to maintain its stance that universities are not part of ministries, departments and agencies, and as such, cannot be forced into being captured into the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System. The president of the association, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, who was on our breakfast show, Sunrise Daily today, also says PPIS would undermine the flexibility of the university system.
Even if a scholar in diaspora wants to come to Nigeria for 1 year sabbatical leave, bringing a lot of experience, research, academic teaching, and what have you, the IP's arrangement will not accommodate such. And that is what we are saying. IP's originally was defined as a program meant for professionalism, accountability in the civil service. And we have the originating document from the World Bank. I have a copy here, and in that document, it is clearly stated that it is meant for MDAs. Universities are not MDAs. Universities are not part of core civil service. And that is what we have been saying. If you have a program that will not accommodate for the flexibility that university education requires, then we are trying to bring down our universities from even the little feasibility we have in the global ranking.
But the director of IPs, Mr. Olufeyinti Olusegun, has explained that the directive by the federal government to have university staff captured into the system is purely for accounting and planning purposes. He added that as it stands, universities cannot ascertain the number of workers on their payroll.
When we talk of agency, there are other agencies under ministries. So the word MDA is not a civil service closure. So, and I just want to enlighten the society in that area. The other peculiarity the Professor Biodun Ogunyemi is saying is this: the ASU is concerned mainly about people that might likely come to Nigeria universities. The federal government is concerned, as of today, we are not only concerned mainly about people that will come, we are concerned mainly about how many workers are in the federal university as of today. Can ASU in its 10 Nigerians, how many are on their payroll as of today? I'll be very glad if the professor can tell Nigerians about that. It's one of the key reasons why the federal government is interested in ascertaining how many federal government employees do we have on our payroll, and how much do we need to plan for them in terms of budgeting.
To other stories now, an explosion has rocked the 4 Point by Sheraton, located on Victoria Island, Lagos. The blast, said to have occurred inside the hotel, damaged about 10 vehicles and also left several windows of the building shattered. Officials of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, were seen making their way to the scene with fire trucks. The Lagos State Central Coordinator of LASEMA has also assured the general public that there is no cause for alarm. Now let's find out what's happening in the world of business. Teniola is standing by.
You First. First Bank.
Welcome to Business News. The Standards Organization of Nigeria has signed a memorandum of understanding with the British Standard Institute to reduce the rates the country's exported items are rejected. The MOU, which was signed today at a meeting organized by the Commonwealth Standards Network in Abuja, aims to improve cooperation between the two organizations. Officials of both agencies say the deal will allow both organizations share information on import and export standard, promote productivity, as well as reduce costs and trade barriers between the United Kingdom and Nigeria by increasing the use of standards. Now, the Industrial Training Fund has organized a forum in Abuja for stakeholders to brainstorm on issues of common interest, especially youth employment. RTS head of ICT, Mr. Anoha Dixon, says the forum provides a platform for better understanding of its roles and mandate and for the fund to assist Nigerians where necessary. Meanwhile, the area manager at Gwagwalada Area Office, Mr. Aminu Labo, says the fund develops and implements programs aimed at enhancing the ability to identify and manage special talents within various organizations. Now, the domestic equities market maintains its decline despite positive price performance margin following sell-offs in some key banking stocks. Ekaite Afia tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. An additional 3 billion naira is lost to extended sell pressure by investors today as the stock market recorded its third consecutive drop within the new month. At the same time, the market's main index ended the midweek trading session slightly lower by 0.02% after losses from Tier 1 lenders Zenith Bank, UBA, as well as Oando hit the banking and oil and gas sector. Traders and analysts attribute the marginal downturn to profit-taking by short-term investors still taking advantage of the gains recorded in the 4 sessions last week. Total volume of shares transactions was weaker by 76.19 million units against Tuesday's session at 112.88 million units, driven largely by the shares of Zenith Bank, FCMB, and UBA. Meanwhile, here are the top 3 gainers and losers for the day. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Ekaite Afia. Back to you, Tenny.
Thanks, Ekaite. Now, stocks on Wall Street made a rebound today after a 3-day downturn, following a report by Bloomberg that the US and China were edging closer to a trade deal. But let's find out how other major world markets ended midweek trading session. And that's business news tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Teniola Shobowale. Back to you, Melinda.
You First. First Bank.
Many thanks, Teniola. 3 scholars of U.S. constitutional law have testified that there is no doubt that President Donald Trump's actions require him to be removed from office. Let's head to our London studios now, where Simon Pusey has more international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. The US President Donald Trump has slammed his closest neighbour, describing Canada's Justin Trudeau as two-faced. His comments follow an event at Buckingham Palace where the Queen hosted a reception to welcome NATO leaders to the UK. At the event, Trudeau was caught on camera, along with the French President Emmanuel Macron, the Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, and the UK's Boris Johnson, laughing at Trump's expense.
He's two-faced.
Do you think that Germany's too naive?
And honestly, with Trudeau, he's a nice guy. I find him to be a very nice guy. But, you know, the truth is that I called him out on the fact that he's not paying 2%, and I guess he's not very happy about it.
Last night I made a reference to the fact that there was an unscheduled press conference before my meeting with President Trump, and I was happy to take part of it. but it was certainly notable. And I've had a number of good conversations with the President over the course of this day and yesterday. The relationship between Canada and the United States is extremely strong, and I have a very good relationship with President Trump and his team.
Well, tensions threaten to overshadow the NATO summit as member states marked the 70th anniversary of the alliance. Countries are divided over Turkey's military action in Syria, the levels of military spending, and there were sharp exchanges ahead of the talks between the US and France after Emmanuel Macron described the organisation as brain dead. Hosting the meeting, the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, called for unity, reminding leaders that it's one for all and all for one in the quest to keep their citizens safe.
70 years on, we are rock solid in our commitment to NATO and to the giant shield of solidarity that now protects 29 countries and nearly 1 billion people. The fact that we live in peace today demonstrates the power of the simple proposition at the heart of this alliance, that for as long as we stand together, no one can hope to defeat us.
Despite their disputes, the leaders issued a joint statement reaffirming their bond, vowing stronger action against terrorism and acknowledging the challenges presented by China.
For the first time, we addressed the rise of China, both the challenges and the opportunities it poses, and the implications for our security. Leaders agreed we need to address this together as an alliance, and that we must find ways to encourage China to participate in arms control arrangements.
The Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has called for the release of innocent unarmed protesters. Thousands of people were reportedly arrested following 2 weeks of violent clashes. They were demonstrating against fuel price hikes after the government raised them by as much as 300%. Amnesty International says more than 200 people were killed. Tehran rejected the claim, saying the group is biased. The Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says he's shocked by the death of a doctor who was killed in Afghanistan. He paid tribute to Tetsu Nakamura, who had devoted his career to improving the lives of Afghans. The aid agency chief was on his way to monitor a project when the car he was travelling in was ambushed by gunmen. 5 Afghans were also killed in the attack, which happened in the city of Jalalabad. The European Commission President is demanding a thorough investigation into the murder of a journalist in Malta. Daphne Caruana Galizia was killed by a car bomb in October 2017. Under pressure, the country's Prime Minister, Joseph Muscat, promised to step down next month, but a European Parliament delegation says he should do so immediately.
I am concerned by the recent developments in Malta, and we are following the situation very closely. To be very clear on that, we harshly condemn the murder of the journalist Daphne. Her murder was an attack on free media. I expect there to be a thorough and independent investigation, free from any political interference.
And finally, you may remember some hardman images of Vladimir Putin on horseback. Well, now it's the North Korean leader's turn. Kim Jong-un proudly rode a white horse adorned with intricate gold-coloured fittings and government emblems. Accompanied by senior military officers and his wife, the state-run news agency says it's his second visit to a sacred mountain range in as many months. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Many thanks, Simon. Still ahead on the news at 10. Crisis in the Athletics Federation of Nigeria lingers, with Ibrahim Gusau's board declaring autonomy from the Ministry of Sports. That's in sports news. Stay with us.